Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today to take you guys on another tour through one of my collections. And today's collection is the Criterion Collection. So of all the different facets of media I collect for, I probably own the most from Criterion Collection of any single company that I collect. And so because of that, I am going to break this video down into two different releases. Today's video is going to cover the few number of Eclipse releases I own, plus A through L of the Criterion Collection. And then the video later this week is going to cover the second half. So it'll be M through Z. And at the end of that second part, I'm going to showcase what is probably the coolest piece in my collection, or if not the coolest, at least it's the most expensive piece in my collection. So I'm excited to get to that once we do at the end of the next video. But hopefully you guys will enjoy this. If you've watched any of my collection tours in the past, the same will hold true here. There are a ton of these that I have not watched. So many of these are still in their shrink wrap. It's ridiculous. But the Criterion Collection was really the first company that I collected for. When I first started collecting Blu-rays, one of the collections, or one of the pieces I will talk about, was the very first thing that I can remember collecting. I know it was my first Criterion Collection pickup. And so from there, thanks to all those Barnes & Noble 50% off sales throughout the years, I've just amassed a large collection of classic cinema. And then I've kind of made it a point to try to collect all of at least the horror and sci-fi or cult things that have been released from the company since then. I don't own all of them, but it's a good number of those genres at least. Now, my collection is probably tiny compared to many, and it might be large compared to many. It just depends. So I'm not showcasing it because I think it's unique or special, like I always say. I'm just showcasing it to show you guys, hey, this is what I have. This is where I'm starting at least with the channel. This is where I'm starting, and then we'll look at these again in the future and see how it's grown or shrunk or whatever the case may be. And something else I hope to do, since day one of Cinefessions, the website, and of course here on the YouTube, the goal has been to kind of rectify those blind spots that I have in all facets of media, not just film, not just books, everything. And the Criterion Collection is a wonderful way. I keep pointing over here because they're stacked over here. But that's a wonderful way to do that because it is filled with awesome releases that they really go into the context of the film, and they go into a lot of the history of it. So if you're going to pick up a Criterion Collection release, you know that you are going to have a better understanding of not only the film, but kind of the time surrounding the film, which is why they're such cool releases and why I've been such a big fan of theirs. And they're probably going to be the best picture quality that you're going to find on any of these releases, at least, the Blu-ray releases of these. So, all right. With that rambling out of the way, I guess there's nothing else to it but to do it, so let's dive right in. All right, so the first three releases are the three releases I own from the Eclipse Series line of Criterion Collection. So these are described on the back of the box as a selection of lost, forgotten, or overshadowed classics in simple, affordable editions. And so it gives a good retrospective of the director or the genre or the theme, whatever the case may be. I think the three I have here are all director themed, or they're all films from the same director. So let's just talk about the first one here. First one I own is Eclipse Series number 24, and these are the actuality dramas of Alan King. So I'm a big fan of documentaries, and there was a point, probably when I bought this, that I wanted to make like that year, the year of documentaries. That was the website post I put up on cinefessions.com. And, I watched a number of documentaries that year, one of the most notable being The Thin Blue Line, which I thought was just fantastic, which is also a Criterion Collection release, which, spoiler, I don't own that one on Blu-ray yet. But so the actuality dramas, these are 5 different movies from the Canadian director Alan King. We have Warrendale from 1967, A Married Couple from 1969. These are all of them there. Come On Children from 72, Dying at Grace from 03, and Memory for Max, Claire, Ida, and Company from 2005. So you can kind of see the releases there. So these are just, they're called actuality dramas. As far as I understand it, they are just documentaries. And so that's the reason I picked it up. I've not seen these. Obviously, you can see all these are sealed, and all of my Eclipse Series box sets are still sealed. But yeah, so the first one is the actuality dramas of Alan King, and this is Eclipse Series number 24. The second Eclipse Series I own is number 25, and these are Basil Dearden's London Underground. So this has 4 films. Sapphire, you can kind of see there, Sapphire from 59, League of Gentlemen from 1960, Victim from 61, and All Night Long from 62. I think these are going to be in the noir genre. No, noir is not a genre. I understand that, but you know what I mean. Anyway, the reason I bought this one is so silly. So on Criterion.com, or CriterionCollection.com, they have these different lists. Not the top 10 list that the famous people put together. I'm talking about the themed list, like they have scary movies or cult classics or whatever. And this was one, I don't remember what list it was on, but there was an image that it was part of this list, and I was like, man, I want to see it. It looked like bank robbers coming out, and they had these really creepy masks on. If I remember, I'll try to put an image up here if I can find it. But it looked really interesting to me and something I wanted to check out. And so it turns out that it was on this release. It was from the League of Gentlemen. So that's the reason. A single image is the reason I bought this one. I do dumb things sometimes. Have I watched it yet? Don't be ridiculous. Of course not. Another one that's sealed. But yeah, so anyway, Eclipse Series 25, Basil Dearden's London Underground. And the last of the Eclipse Series sets, and this is one that I got because of the genre. It's horror. This is Eclipse Series number 37, and this is, I'm going to mess up these names, so I apologize, but this is When Horror Came to Shochiku. And like I said, this is number 37. So this has 4 horror movies on it. The X from Outer Space from 1967, Goki, Body Snatcher from Hell from 68, The Living Skeleton from 68, and Genocide from 1968. So this is very interesting to me just because of the genre. It's from, late 60s horror movies from Japan. Not seen any of these, of course, but it sounds really cool, so I picked this one up. This was Eclipse number 37, When Horror Came to Shochiku. You may have noticed that the Eclipse Series sets are a little bit more expensive. Those are $60 releases, which makes sense because they have, 4 to 6 films on it typically. And so those, I can assure you, I all bought when they were 50% off because there's no way I paid $60 for those. But yeah, that's why I only owned 3 because they are a little bit pricier than the regular releases. All right, so those were the Eclipse series. Now let's move on to the Criterion Collection proper, if you will. So the first set is a big one. This is a big honking one. This was America Lost and Found, the BBS story. So this has a bunch of just American film classics. It has Head from 68, Easy Rider from 69, 5 Easy Pieces from 70, which is a Jack Nicholson film. Drive, he said, directed by Jack Nicholson, A Safe Place, The Last Picture Show, and The King of Marvin Gardens. So that's a lot of movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 films on this set, and they all come like this. As you can see, obviously it's still sealed, but that's just how I roll. So yeah, this is a really cool set I bought quite a long time ago, and frankly, most of these I bought quite some time ago. Like, I was collecting this when I was going to grad school, and so that was like 2009 to 2012, and mostly from like 2010 to 2012. So a lot of these are pretty old, and I just haven't watched them for whatever dumb reason I come up with. But anyway, the BBS story, America Lost and Found. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of these a little bit quicker, like I said, because I don't really have much to say about them. I don't even know why I purchased some of the ones I purchased, but this is an example of that. This is Anatomy of a Murder. You can see these stickers. So many of these still have the stickers on them yet, but this is from 1959, but it's a Jon Stewart film, and it takes place in Michigan, so that's always fun. So Anatomy of a Murder, this is from Otto Preminger. Lars von Trier's Antichrist. Now this is from 2009, and this is a messed up film. So just so you can take a look on the inside, because this is one I've opened and one I have watched this release of, and it is one of the more bizarre, frankly, disturbing films I've seen. Just the imagery in this that Lars von Trier finds is startling and disturbing, and it'll stick with you. I'll say that. So this is an interesting one that I would recommend if you're into that type of thing. I didn't mention it, but Anatomy of a Murder is spine number 600, and Antichrist is spine number 542. I don't know if I'm going to talk about those. I don't know if you guys care about that, but I figured I'd point it out just in case. Next up is Badlands. This is one that, as a Terrence Malick film, one that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. I recently discovered that this was based on a serial killer. I think this is like the Starkweather. Yeah, Charles Starkweather. And so this one I really want to check out. Just haven't opened it yet. But this is from 1973, Badlands, spine number 651. Spine number 249 is The Battle of Algiers. And this is just another classic that I need to watch. Spine number 6 is Jean Cocteau's, I don't know how you say that, I'm terrible. I'm so bad. Anyway, Beauty and the Beast. Spine number 6, and this one was released in 1946. Spine number 856, 57, 58, 59 is the Before trilogy. So this is going to be Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. So 3 films. These are all newer, 95, 2004, and 2013. This is a very popular trilogy. It's one of Chris's favorite trilogies. He always talks it up. I have not seen any of these yet, but I know that these are probably ones I'm going to enjoy. I really like Linklater as a director from what I've seen, so excited to get to these, just haven't done so yet. This is one of my newer ones because it just came out, I want to say Valentine's Day, like in the past 3 or 4 years here, so I picked it up when it came out. But the Before trilogy. Spine 611 is Being John Malkovich, and this is directed by Spike Jonze from 1999. Spine 593 is Belle de Jour from 1967. Spine number 91 and the first Criterion Collection DVD that I have is The Blob. Now, this one was recently released on Blu-ray. I think this is a fine movie. I watched this release of it. This is really cool on the inside here. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Not one I'm really running out to pick up on Blu-ray. I think the DVD is good enough. This one was released in 1958, and this is one I really want to see the 80s remake of this. I believe Jeff Goldblum is in it. I've not seen it, but I really want to check that one out because I enjoyed this one for what it was. Obviously, it's nothing spectacular, nothing stellar, but it's fun for what it is. A cheesy 50s sci-fi horror film, so... The Blob from 1958. Spine 834 is Blood Simple, which is probably my favorite cover in the Criterion Collection. I mean, it's so on brand, right, with this neon light, because I love that. Our logo has the neon in it. I love that. And so this is just on brand. Blood Simple. This is, of course, a Coen Brothers film. Probably my favorite cover in the bunch. So this one was released in 1984. Spine 562 is Blowout from 1981. Spine number 450 is Bottle Rocket, and this is from 1996, I believe. Yeah, 96, and this is Wes Anderson. So I've only seen one Wes Anderson film, and it was The Grand Budapest Hotel. I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. Just his use of color was amazing. And so I really want to check out more of his work, which is why I started collecting him on the Criterion Collection. But, of course, it's still sealed, so that's just the way it is. Spine number 928 is Bowling for Columbine, and this is one of my absolute favorite documentaries ever. This was the documentary I first watched in high school that made me realize that documentaries are good. They can be effective. They're not boring like I watched previous. They are genuinely good pieces of film and important, like Bowling for Columbine. This was released in 2002, and I distinctly remember watching this for the first time in high school and just having it affect me in such a powerful way. I know this is not everyone's cup of tea because it's Michael Moore, who is pretty divisive, but I think this film is not only important, but so well done. So Bowling for Columbine from 2002, Spine number 928. Spine number 51 is 1985's Brazil. This is a Terry Gilliam film, and this film is fantastic. It is just so well done. This is another one where just the fantasy aspects of it are so interesting. If you've not seen this film, don't let anybody spoil it for you, myself included. Check it out. It has a very dystopian feel to it that I can't recommend it enough. It's awesome. Check out Brazil if you've not already. Spine number 408 is Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, and this is from 1960. This is one of those classics of the French New Wave that I really should have watched a long time ago, but just haven't yet. Spine 552 is Broadcast News from 1987. Spine number 777 is The Brood, and this, of course, is a David Cronenberg film, and this was released in 1979, This is one I've not seen, one of the horror movies from the collection that I've yet to watch. Spine number 75 is an interesting one. This is Chasing Amy, of course, the Kevin Smith film. I believe this was from 2000, at least that's what the copyright date is in the bottom here. This is interesting because, well, one, it's a DVD, but two, it's one of those ones that doesn't look like a normal Criterion Collection release. Yes, it has it up here, but the back looks significantly different. It looks like a standard release of it, but if you look on the inside, it has this really cool booklet, which is based on the Chasing Amy comic. It's really cool. I love this movie. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Smith and his films, and Chasing Amy I think is really good. Honestly, probably of that, I forget what they call it, whatever that universe is that he calls it, of those, Chasing Amy probably my least favorite of those, but I still really enjoy it. I think it's probably only and that's not true. I would probably put this over Dogma. I'm not a huge fan of Dogma. I think it's fine, it's funny, but I think this is better than that. But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Mallrats is my thing, and Clerks, I mean, I love it. But the View Askew-verse, that's what it's called, right? But anyway, Chasing Amy, Spine number 75, a great release, but an atypical Criterion Collection release. Spine number 453 is actually a cool one because this one is a little bit harder to find because it's out of print. At least it was the last I heard. And this is Chungking Express, directed by Wong Kar-wai. This is from 1994. This film is fantastic. Okay, this version is unopened. That's what you'll notice. If I've seen a film and I loved it, and it's on the Criterion Collection, I will purchase it that way, but I may not have watched it since I purchased it, and that's the case with this one. It's still sealed, but I have seen this one, just like I was talking about a couple of the other ones. This film is so interesting. It's fantastic. Though this wasn't the first foreign film I watched, I would probably put this in like the first wave of when I started watching foreign films, and of course, I was doing it for the horror. J-horror was huge back when I was in high school, and so I wanted to watch the originals, and so that's what got me into watching foreign cinema. And this was one that was outside of the horror genre that I wanted to check out for, I have no idea why, I must have heard about it, and I thought it was just fantastic. It is a very quiet story, but it's so interesting. So Chungking Express, highly recommended if you've not seen this one. So Spine number 680 is City Lights by Charlie Chaplin, and I have a surprising number of silent films in my Criterion Collection collection. And this is one of them. And also cool about this is a dual format release, which they don't do anymore. But this has both the DVD and the Blu-ray inside, which is pretty cool for those that like that. I honestly have no need for the DVD, so I don't mind that they've stopped doing that. But I know some people were upset that they stopped. But either way, Spine number 680, City Lights by Charlie Chaplin. Spine number 519 is from 1990. Speaking of movies that I genuinely have no idea why I bought this. Probably because I would listen to the Criterion cast, and they talk about their year-end favorites, and I think that's where I heard about this one was from that. And whenever I hear about their year-end favorites, of course, I have to add them all to my wish list, and then when the sale comes, I would buy them. I don't buy too many nowadays, but back when, that's how I did it. Anyway, this is Close Up, which is by Abbas Kiarostami. I apologize, that's probably wrong, but what's interesting about this is I believe that this is an Iranian film. Yeah, so that's one of the only Iranian films I own. I think it's probably the only Iranian film I own, and one of the few in the collection, if not the only in the collection. And so I think that's one of the main reasons that drew me to this. So Close Up from 1990. Spine number 551 is a Guillermo del Toro classic, Chronos. At least I hear it's a classic. I have not actually watched this one yet, which I know it's bad, but anyway, Chronos from 1993. Spine 533 from 1995 is the documentary Crumb. So this is another one of those odd releases. This is Spine number 476 from 2008, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. You can see it doesn't look like our normal Criterion Collection releases. It has this blue here instead of the normal white case, and it's just a standard Blu-ray case. So one of those odd ones, and I know it has something to do with the release, the company that released. I think this was, it looks like Paramount published this. So I don't know, they had some kind of deal with them that they had these odd releases every once in a while. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know more about it than I do. But anyway, Curious Case of Benjamin Button from 2008 is Spine number 476. Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven from 1978 is going to be Spine number 409. Another Malick film that I think I own all of the Malick films from the Criterion Collection and have yet to watch a single one. Oh well. Spine number 336 is a classic, Dazed and Confused from 1993. This is another one. I've not opened this release of it, but I love this movie. It's fantastic. Just so many awesome young stars that we know today are in this. And it's another Linklater film, which I love, which I think I have another one that I'll talk about later on in the next episode that I was blown away by. I loved it. But Linklater is just such a solid director. So anyway, Dazed and Confused from 1993 is Spine number 336. Another Del Toro film, The Devil's Backbone, and this is from 2001, Spine number 666, which is just fantastic. So, The Devil's Backbone from Guillermo del Toro. Spine number 35 is Diabolique, I believe is how you would say that, or Diabolic. And this is from 1955. This is, I can't say the director's name, but you can see it right there. This is a great cover, though. I love this cover. This is one of the films I think I talked about in one of my videos at the beginning of this year of the either 5-star predictions or media to watch in 2020. But this is Spine number 745 from 1973. This is Don't Look Now. So this is a one of those horror classics that everyone is supposed to see, and I've not watched it, so that's why I picked it up on the Criterion Collection, because it's probably going to be the best way to see it. So Don't Look Now from 1973. Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill is from 1980, and this is Spine number 770. And then we have Eating Raoul, and this is from 1982, Spine number 625. Federico Fellini's 8.5, and this is from 1963. Spine number 140, and this is one that I have watched. It has a really cool booklet here. This is a film that I respect more than I enjoy, and I'm sure you can understand what I mean. This one is interesting. I honestly, it's not my favorite. It's not my cup of tea, really, but you know, it's definitely does something interesting that is worth seeing at least once. It took me a couple times to kind of appreciate that, but Fellini's 8.5. Spine number 725, another cult classic. This is David Lynch's Eraserhead from 1977. Spine number 260 is another DVD, a horror film that was recently upgraded to Blu-ray, I believe. And this is Eyes Without a Face from, 1959. This is one of the bigger releases from them, and you can see the price tag denotes that as well. There's like two different there's the television version, the theatrical version, and then the supplements are on disc 3. So this is from 1982, Fanny and Alexander. This is Spine number 261. Spine number 700 is Fantastic Mr. Fox from 2009, and this is like that stop motion Wes Anderson film. I've not seen this one yet, but I think George Clooney is like the main character in this as well. So interesting cast, interesting art style, if you will, or filming style. I don't know what you call stop motion, but yeah. So anyway, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Fantastic Planet is Spine number 820, and this was released in 1973. And this was another French film. This is directed by René Laloux. This is supposed to be very interesting. It's an animated film, which I think is the only animated film I have in the Criterion Collection, so it's unique for that at least. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is Spine number 175, and this was released in 1998. And this is a film I honestly did not enjoy at all. I just didn't get it, I guess. But it's one that I probably have to watch again. But my first viewing of this was super disappointing. It just didn't work for me at all. Spine 638 was one that, as a huge Christopher Nolan fan, thanks to the Dark Knight trilogy and, you know, all of his other films, really, following. This is one that is super short. It's only 70 minutes, and it was released in 1999. I think it was his first film, if I remember right. It might even been his student film is what I was thinking, but no, it doesn't say that. But yeah, this was even before Memento, which is another great film. I actually owned Memento on VHS. That's how I watched that for the first time. But anyway, from 1999, Christopher Nolan's Following. Spine number 627 is The Game, and this is from director David Fincher, who's one of my favorites, and this is from 97. And I said before that Blood Simple was my favorite Criterion cover, but this one is a very close second, if not tied for first, because it's an awesome cover as well. So The Game from David Fincher from 97. Spine 594 is Godzilla, the original from 1954. And this one is awesome. I mean, it's Godzilla. It's a fantastic release. It looks great on Blu-ray. Can't recommend this one enough. Obviously, you know, there is the larger Godzilla set, but this is just the single release of it. I was trying to open it, but the stupid thing won't open. Oh, there we go. You can see the booklet there at least. But I love these booklets. They're just, the essays in here are usually fantastic. And you get some additional really cool artwork. So, gotta love that. Anyway, Godzilla from 1954. Spine number 615 is The Gold Rush, another Charlie Chaplin silent film from 1925. Spine number 800 is not only one of my personal favorites, but one of the greatest films ever made, and that is The Graduate from 1967. This film is fantastic. I recently did a book haul where I picked up the novel that this film is based off of, so I'm really excited to dive into that novel because the film is just so good. But what I'm going to miss from the novel is the incredible Simon and Garfunkel soundtrack, because that's what really makes this film for me. But The Graduate from 1967 is spine number 800. More Charlie Chaplin silence. This is The Great Dictator, which is cool because you can turn it upside down. You have Hitler and you have Chaplin. Awesome. This is from 1940 and is spine number 565. I genuinely forgot I owned this one, but this is spine number 608, Harold and Maude. This is one that I've heard so many interesting things about. I've got to check it out. It's one of those cult classics, but this is from 1971, by the way. Spine number 24 is an Akira Kurosawa film. This is High and Low. This was from 1963. Spine number 289 is a film that has been on my to-watch list forever. From 1994, Hoop Dreams. This is another documentary, and it's a sports documentary, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. This was recently upgraded to Blu-ray as well, but I own the DVD version, and I won't upgrade unless I watch it and absolutely discover I absolutely need to, but I'm sure the DVD will be fine. So Hoop Dreams from 1994. This is one that we talked about on the Cinefessions podcast. It's from 1977. This is spine number 539, and it's House. This was such a weird, trippy movie that honestly I didn't enjoy as much as I was hoping I was going to. It's just strange for strangeness' sake, I guess, is the best way to say it. Let me see if there's any cool photos in here. Like, just to give a good idea of how trippy this movie is, there's some pictures. It's just a strange movie. Is it worth watching? Yeah, I'm sure it is, but did I love it? Nope, I didn't. So anyway, House from 1977. Spine 504 is the Steve McQueen film Hunger, and this was released in 2008. Ang Lee's Ice Storm is spine number 426, which was released in 1997. I love this cover as well. It's so simple and very cool. Spine number 391 is If, starring Malcolm McDowell, which is really the reason I picked it up, and this is from 1969. Spine number 823 is The In-Laws from 1979, and this is starring Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. So it's a great comedy. I believe I've seen this one, which is the reason I picked it up, but I don't know for certain. I think this was one that my great uncle showed us when we visited him and my great aunt in California when I was much, much younger, but I remember this movie. I think it was this one. And so I needed to watch it to actually verify that this is the right movie, but I'm pretty sure it was this one. So that's the reason I picked this one up. Another Wong Kar-wai film is In the Mood for Love. I've heard great things about this. This is from 2000 and is spine number 147, In the Mood for Love. Spine number 466 is In the Realm of the Senses from 1976. Spine number 586 is Island of Lost Souls, which is basically a retelling of H.G. Wells' Island of Dr. Moreau. And this one is very much kind of like not a spin-off, but a knockoff of the Universal monster films that were popular back then. And it's not done nearly as well, in my opinion. I was not a big fan of this one when I watched it. I felt it was kind of boring compared to a lot of those Universal monster films, which I really enjoy. I have a large number of Western films for some reason from the collection as well. And this is the first one. This is Jubal, or Jubal, however you say that, from 1956. And this is spine number 656. We're getting really close to the end here. Only 3 more to go. And the first of those 3 is 1956's The Killing. And this is a Kubrick film. And this is spine number 575. Spine number 568 is Kiss Me Deadly, and this is directed by Robert Aldrich, and this is from 1955, so very much a Cold War era film, and I think this is another noir, so it should be a cool one when I get to it. And the last one for this video is Kuroneko from 1968, and this is spine number 584, and this has a really cool, you can see her there, it almost is like hidden in the background, this woman. Very cool cover. Alright, so that's going to do it for my Eclipse series, and then I said A through L, I think, at the beginning of the video, but clearly I meant A through K, and then I'll do L through Z in the part 2, which will come later this week, and I'll show at the end what is probably my favorite, or at least the most expensive, I guess, item in the from the Criterion Collection that I own. So I want to thank you guys for sticking with it. Again, there are so many of these I need to watch, so please let me know down in the comments below, what should I prioritize? What's worth watching? Probably all of them, but what's worth watching first? What should I prioritize from what you've seen of A through K? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And if not, thank you anyway for watching. I really appreciate it. Alright, so I want to say thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll catch you next time.